All right.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Evony with Genghis. So the long-awaited third part with skis. So a lot of awesome feedback in the comments and personal messages to both me and him saying how much they learned. Like, thank you. This is the type of build I want. I'm a medium coiner, etc. Anyways, we are in the middle of. Is it quarterly event or every 4 months? This comes out every year. Where
Yeah.
basically, if you're ever gonna spend,
Uh-huh.
save up and spend in this event. So skis, floor is
Right, right.
yours on this event.
Oh, hi, GK. Thank you, thank you. Yes, you're right. We were just talking about that. How it seems like these events are usually were every 4 months, but like I thought it just happened in December, and now here we go again. But anyways, it's all about like really like people have to understand like it's just a game, it's just entertainment, and like you got to spend like within your budget, right? So like when they have these events, definitely have to coin for what you're doing as a player in your account. Like if you're you're upgrading to keep, or you're trying to get more techs done, or you're trying to work on your duty officers like for defense and stuff like that, or like in this case in this event this is a good event to get like those hard to get sub generals, like the Barb Kings and that one really good Chinese general that's it's so expensive though, like what they want for them. But like so these are the times that like I said, Evony is the master of the FOMO. They like to do that fear of missing out, in case you guys don't know what FOMO means. They like to do the fear of missing out, which is a real thing in the game. Like they offer certain things that I think are quite exclusive if you're willing to like coin right and acquire certain things. Like I said, like these duty generals for the defense, or also sub generals to help with your debuffs and stuff. And like this is a time really to just like I said, know what you're going for and go for it. Don't just like coin randomly or just like get sucked into the whole, because it is a competition too, coining, which is kind of silly and ridiculous if you think about it. But you should only just coin for like how much money you would normally spend like for entertainment, like, and that's it. Like spending thousands or tens of thousands is kind of like really a problem if you're doing that, because
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean
competition of
realistically,
who can give away more money. So, will you buy your
yeah.
fifth cake ever this event?
No, I was thinking about it too because like Aptoide's got good discounts as usual, but I mean, like I said, I'm at the point in the game where I don't, like I only bought a cake recently because I was getting over the hump with a couple of T15s, and very importantly, Siege is which is what I needed for my build. So, like I said, when you're coining or you're gonna coin a lot, do it for something that like you're gonna get over the hump, or you're gonna get the most back out of, like as far as like results, buff improvements, or like you're improving your defense a lot. And read the reports a lot and see what's really like deficient, both what's really deficient and what's like doing really well. And you have to like improve both of those so you can kind of like make a difference. Otherwise, coining a little is going to help, and coining a lot is going to help a lot more. But you have to coin smartly and not just like randomly on whatever, just because it's there. Because there's a lot of stuff, and that's what the game really I think takes advantage of, is people's impulsive and addictive nature. You know what I mean? Like you have to like try not to and it's good to have friends in the game. Like everyone's got a good alliance mate or whatever. And I was this was I didn't tell you about this guy. It's like I have a good alliance mate, and we always compare. You got to compare. Like if you're coining for like certain general, you're coining for something that there's a luck thing involved. How many did you get? How many did you get? Because believe it or not, I've gone to CS and complained about like let's say I bought a couple events worth of packs to get those duty generals I talk about, and I didn't get one. That Ono guy at first, and I was like, man, out of 15 tries, you think like that doesn't match your odds. So it's, you got to go to CS and complain sometimes. Not through the game. Through the game portal is terrible. You'll never get it. Takes forever. I always take the email. What is it? That Top Games Index or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you just email them straight up, and then communicate them with email. Like you don't have to be irate and cranky. Just send them screenshots, and then call them out on their oh, your odds aren't matching up, because that's the other thing. Like, anything with odds, like you always compare. Talk with your buddies, like with those hunter boxes. I have only gotten one supremacy gear since it came out. and I'm about ready to call them up and complain.
Yeah, I'm at 0.
Or you know, I'm like, it should be on paper.
You should get 3 a month.
One, I should get, yeah, you should get one
Like
out of like
every 4, 5
100
weeks, 3.
or 11. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like one every
I've had
11 days or
success
something, I think,
also
is the
writing
minimum
customer
average.
service. I've wrote customer service because I opened up so many of those like Gen Hall 3 boxes and never got some people, and they gave me generals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So speaking of coining, you were getting into there. So
Yeah.
the biggest criticism on the video, and this is partially my fault, I should have said very smartly coined keep, where I said low coin. So that's on me. But everybody's saying like VIP 19, that's low coin. So go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I know,
years,
listen,
you do get free login points, but go ahead, explain that.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, realistically, I've always kind of been like a mid-level spender because, like, I mean, if you think about, just look at a lot of players out there, you know. I mean, I only just became VIP 19 like after I faced you in Battlefield a little while ago. So, like, like you said, I've been coining like at a steady pace, which is like a medium rate or whatever, since I started playing about 4 years ago. So, like, I'm literally like I would say a mid-level player and coiner because like I don't have a lot of red subs. I only have two like cake keeps, I guess you could call them, right? So like I don't, I wouldn't classify myself as a like a whale or whatever, but I'm just saying that there you can build, a competitive account in the game, but you have to really like take your the coining as strategically as you do playing the game because like you can't fall into the whole impulsive just wildly spending without like really spend like I'm almost like gonna call it like spending with direction, like you're spending towards like a certain thing or whatever because you always got to keep like having a goal or like this month I'm doing this or by next week I want to do that or by next event I'm going to build the next keep level and then start to unlock text. It's just like you have to always like do something and not be like without any direction because then you probably in the long run you're not going to like really accomplish much or you're not going to get as far as like other players because like the game it's a grind. Even if you spend money, you're spending money, but you got to play the game and you got to grind. Otherwise, you're not going to really still get ahead if you're just spending money because you got to complete all the activities.
So 2 questions on what you said there. So 1, you have some red subs. How did you get them?
No. I don't have red subs. I don't have a single red sub, and I don't have I just have 2 cake keeps that I got out of the like okay, 3 or 4 that I've gotten over the years. So like, yeah, I've been like not like I've never really like coined more than like let's say Sulis or I have a handful of maybe more than a handful of those duty officer gears, which are also good. Like I said, like I watch other people's videos like that they like post when they're like, oh, they get a duty officer gear because that's another little thing. There's a lot of stuff in the game that we really don't know what kind of buffs you're going to get or what type of refines or what you're going to get when you unlock this item. And this duty officer weapons is the same thing because I remember getting the duty officer for the archer camp, like Maurice or whatever. And I'm like, oh, cool, it's going to have some in-city stuff. But then you go to refine it, and the refines are all like March speed, and there's like no PvP refines, and you don't really know. It doesn't force to look at the gear or what type of refines. They need to do that because you're selling something that costs a lot of money, and people need to know like if it's worth it. And because there's no, when you buy a gear, like that's why I watch sometimes other people's videos because they'll show you, oh look, you could get like range troop attack or whatever, like for the warehouse. Like I got those gears and I'm like, wow, it only gives range troop. There's no other buff. But then they came out with ones for the military academy, and lo and behold, here's a secret: you can get any attack buff from those gears. I'm like, wow, those are really good gears because some gears have trash buffs and refined. So, like I said, that's why being knowledgeable, talking to people, asking questions because they don't tell us stuff on purpose. So people have to figure stuff out. That's like racing and cars. You know, people know little tricks or little secrets that they'll never find that you got like ahead of the other guy because it's ever so slight or it's like very hidden and not many people know about it. That's an advantage. And you know, a lot of games, a lot of competitive games or stuff like that, people need or like to have like a little advantage over the competition. So like that's kind of like what I like to do and what I like about the game because I like, to like look for these little tiny advantages and then go for them, So,
We need
and
a
I'm glad to share
we
it
need a
finally with people. So,
producer.
because I think, really the mid-level players are probably the backbone of the game because, we're rally fillers and, we're the guys that get attacked by the setters and stuff. And we're the
we,
guys that generate the most points, as far as getting rallied or us, filling the rallies or whatever. They really like stepped up on the marketing of the game, and once that I remember when they started having that Sully's Treasure or whatever, it was like it's $500 per event, and I was talking with everyone in the game or on my team, and I'm like, that's pretty much like the mid coiners cake right there, like what they got. Like here, all y'all who are spending 100, 200 an event, here, this will give you like a lot more boost as far as like stuff that you need to improve your count. And it's stuff that improves buffs, like Blood of Ares and, a crap ton of runes and refines. Before the rally card came out, like people like me, I was like behind on refines because I'm like, I'm a perfectionist and I was always refining and stuff. And even the advanced refining, right? We were, those are all like little, like I said, little extra advantages that help. But then, so yeah, so on the Sully's Treasure, there's a lot of good stuff in there that are kind of valuable that you get, and it kind of makes it, worth it. And then that's why you got to coin kind of smartly for what you want, not just coin like, oh, I want Sully's Treasure, so I'm just going to get, whatever it takes to reach that total. Like you have the whole event, man. Like that's what I understand. Like people need to like look at it like it's part of the game is the coining strategy is you have a whole event to coin. There's no reason to kind of like jump the gun or overspend or get yourself too over budget. So definitely like yeah that's about like the limit for the lower to mid level player nowadays. I think is the Sully's Treasure because then the next level will probably be like I said buying a duty gear. Which is, I think, like 1,000. That's already half a cake now.
Yeah, so that's what
That's already
Real
like
Barb Life's told me. I asked him, I'm like, do you still full cake all the time? And he said, no, what I do is I do cake 8 once a month, and that's how the duty gear comes out once a month at cake 12, cake 8. And then the other one, I just do
mhm.
like a low level item. And like he doesn't go quite as high, but yeah, he explains that on his channel. And that's a really good way if you want to get those tough to get items to space out your coin. But we're talking high levels. Like that's $1,200, I think, cake 8.
Yeah, it's actually I believe because I just recently did it last event. It's 275,000 is the total you have to get on your cake to get that
So
last get that gear. So 275,000 points, right? That's
1,100 now, I
1,100.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, you see what I mean? So like that's how stuff like, spending and budget and coining in this game can get out of hand for some people. I mean, that's like a whole mortgage payment for some people. Like that you're spending in just 2 weeks or 12 days is an event. So like, yeah, like you gotta really just like be smart about, the game and your money and not just spend just to spend. So like, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's
All
my
right.
opinion.
Speaking of spending, next question. What do you do with your extra resources if you're still K42 and you only have 500 million troops? What do? You just sit on it? You trade it with teammates? What
Yeah,
do you do?
I am sitting on like quite a bit and like I'm just kind of like coming up with what I don't want to like jump ahead yet because like I was explaining to you like I don't get attacked as it is so I'm trying not to like I still enjoy like the defensive aspects of the game and I feel like I don't want to like trade that in and like just get a turn into a 20 billion K44 or better and then I'm never gonna get attacked outside of Challenger All Stars
Yeah, because
season. So
people will
and
see
even
K44 and just be like, okay, we'll get them last.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And even the other day, we had a K-45 that we played at BOG, and he just like came in and like slaughtered everybody. But he left me and like a couple bigger players because unless they're competing for like an all-star or challenge, and they need to get every damn point on the map. I'm not gonna ever get usually attacked, and that's kind of starting to get very apparent to me. So like like I said, I don't right now. I'm at the point now where I'm just building some troops a little bit, but I don't think I'm gonna be going K-44 or K-43 into 44 for like at least a few months because I don't I don't know. I'm a little like skeptical about making a big jump. See, that's also my huge opinion about things is like don't make big jumps and don't make big like changes because like you really I mean in my opinion like I like to see the growth, and then add and then make the adjustments as you go. So yeah, it's more fun that way in my opinion too because sometimes you make a rash decision and you're like, "Oh, I just want to push ahead real fast," and then you don't have to kind of fill in, and then you're just like, well, why did I rush? I should have waited. So like, that's why I don't just rush ahead or just blow all my resources.
All right, so staying on resources and rushing ahead, I'm going to skip a couple questions and then come back. So, resources, etc. Why did you choose to open ground and siege 15 ahead of horse and archer, in particular archer? Because I know you've worked really hard on archer buffs, and then to not have those 15 archers.
Oh yes. Okay. All right. I'll tell you. Well, basically, like I said, I enjoy the defense, and that's how I'm built. And basically, those are your most advantageous troops to do the best defense, like the most work and stuff. As far as like, in my opinion, you know what I mean. There's gonna be a lot of people totally different defenses that are maybe relying on other troops. Maybe like obviously the T1s and all the. I've seen a lot of different bigger players too doing different things. So I'm not saying like this is how you got to do it. I'm just saying this is how I did it, and because like I always noticed that hey, look, siege is a good defensive troop if you are if you focus on the buffs and the troop count, and you just kind of add as you go. And obviously ground is a key troop to have. It's always been even early in the game a good defensive troop to have. So and ground T-15 everyone knows is the most affordable, and you probably want to like once you get close just unlock those because it'll help you either way. And like I said, for me personally, like I know it took me a while to get to Siege 15. It took like at least 3 months. I mean, from August to December to get it, and I focused like pretty much everything towards getting it. And like I said, you don't need Siege 15 Siege, until you really start getting good buffs, and you start seeing maybe your T14s is doing a lot of good numbers, and then you can start to be like, well, hell, if I add 15s, that'll help too, because 15s and 14s really like work together well. Okay, so especially when you start getting good higher buffs like 34, 3,500 in city attack, then now you start seeing that good ratio of kills. Like even they all get slaughtered in a rally, but then you got to look at, well, how many kills did they get for the number? You know what I mean? If they're at least 1-to-1 or like 1.5 or even double, then yeah, you're getting your money's worth out of your defensive troops, and the buffs are working. So that's how you got to build, and that's how you got to like move ahead from that perspective.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go back in order now. So I guess what someone's trying to say here is you didn't totally max out your debuffs for Archer and Siege because you chose different types of sub generals, and they're saying you're giving up 125% Siege and Archer debuffs. I don't know which ones in particular, but if you are such a Siege defender, why didn't you just go pure Siege debuffs?
No, that's the best question and had me really thinking also. And I'm open to criticism too because like there's a lot of things that could be changed or adjusted, right? But I basically just got the most like easy to ascend and just like best setup that I could get. I know I could get more actually Arch and Siege attack debuff. But remember, I'm also gonna be soloing in SVS, and I'm also gonna be, trying to, get little points sometimes to help my team. And you do need to have like some sub gens for ground and mounted too debuffs. So because you never know when you're gonna be soloing. And I always notice in challenge is like a lot of bigger teams, sometimes get matched with like weaker teams, and then before you know it, you're soloing a lot. So, I mean, yeah, I'm open to criticism, and yeah, and ideally, like I would like to get like Simon or that new Chinese sub general that looks super good because they got
Is
like
it DD?
just like their attacking general. Yes, ZD or Z.
Yeah, I'm
He's
looking at
man. I
getting
mean, I'm
him
telling you.
now.
Yes, like you see, like they're finally doing it with the sub generals, like with the attacking generals. How now it was like 30% and 40, and now they're getting close to 50%. And maybe by in 6 7 months, the generals would be like 60 and 70% in the base skills. So I'm honestly thinking and hoping that um, they should have did this already. They need to add two more houses in the Senate, which would make sense for sub generals. And then if they ever decide to start releasing wall generals,
Yeah, or wall
for
gen.
defensive generals. Yeah, because remember you can't use in the Senate, the soul binding feature on a defensive general or a sub general, right? Only the four troop generals.
Yeah,
So,
I'll
and you
tell
know
you
what?
this. I always feel
Mhm.
Evany's about to make a change like that in the game when I'm about to do something. And in this case, I really want to trade in my old subgens and wall gens red stars, their ascensions to get the blood back.
Yes,
And the minute I do it, I know they're going to do what you just said, and then I won't have a place to put them
yes,
in the Senate.
yes.
So I'm holding on to them, waiting.
Exactly. That's an excellent point, and everyone needs to think about that. Like, don't, I know sometimes you might get in a bind and be like, I don't use this general not in like a couple of years. Let me just like dismiss them and get all their stuff back. You never know. They might add, like I said, those houses, extra houses that you can now park your or retire your old generals and get debuffs and get more in city or more like special buffs that like, you'd be like kicking yourself because they always do that. Not just the FOMO, they do those changes that are I had no idea you were gonna like let us have to use these to ascend these, and then it's like, so that's a classic thing that they like to do, I think. But like I said, as far as like, yeah, the sub generals are getting really good now, and yeah, I'm gonna have to like examine or maybe start to upgrade or swap them out, just so I can
Yeah,
get more
I'm the same as you,
use
where I
attack.
keep some subgens for debuffs for attacking, like horse HP. But I am getting to the point
Yes.
where now that my coining's
Mhm.
dropped, that I might just have to fully commit and add more. Like I'm looking at getting that ZD guy now, and I have some points saved up in the battle shop. I'm looking at adding some guys and making changes, getting rid of some other guys who debuff for my attacks. But so Spirit Beasts, I think you did actually cover it. But anyways,
Mhm.
if you want to touch on that a little
Mhm.
bit, what you dress your sub generals with.
Yeah, so at this point in the game, it's like they have like all the spirit beasts starting from Pegasus. Remember, I think the first couple, the Fox and Pegasus were like the first couple spirit beasts that they released that we were all like, wow, debuffs. Oh man, we could put these on the sub general. So like every damn spirit beast can go on a sub general now for any player like over a certain VIP level, right? With 11 subs. So like I can, yeah, I have like 10 of them on my subs, and then I'll leave like, I'll put either the new white dragon, right, the one that gives all those extra debuffs in the pasture. I could put that one on my 11th sub general, or I could put the blue dragon on. Either way, it's you pretty much like don't waste the opportunity to throw them on your sub generals and get those debuffs because that just makes you harder to kill and that makes your attack stronger too when
Yeah,
you
there is the
solo.
pink
You know.
Aziz one from All Stars also. Uh, I have at times in big
Oh yeah,
matchups
yeah.
because I it's
Hmm.
not my main. I use Wonder 3 still for my mounted, so I
Hmm.
will at times sometimes
Hmm.
throw it on a sub before a big battlefield if I want to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't realize like yeah, they have some really good all-star dragons like Ziz and maybe another I'm not thinking of that you can, really add some debuffs, specific debuffs that is like if you want to really just tailor.
Yeah, I think it's
But
not
yeah, you definitely
relevant
got to use
anymore
them.
because so many of the spirit beasts do the same stuff, so you don't have to. But it used to before. There's now like 15 spirit beasts with debuffs. So, are you focusing on going
Yep.
higher for your keep or finishing out your T15s?
Yeah, I'm finishing out my T15s currently, and then I'm probably gonna just like either do the finish the academy because there's a little bit of buffs in the academy. It's barely worth it, but I'm at the point where I just want to kind of like I want to try to like because I was like at the point I was a K39 for like over a year, and I think I was kind of like a really I consider myself one of the strongest like K39s buff wise, and I just didn't want to grow because I like being in it. So I feel like the same way now with K42. It's like I want to just stay because then I feel like I'm low key, and I kind of like being that type of player. But I think like if I go up, because you were telling me and my other teammate were telling me, oh, if you go to K43, there's really not much to gain there. And I was looking at the MA 7 or MA 8, I think that would be. Yeah, I was looking at the MA 8 text, and yeah, there's not much. So a lot of people like to just jump. It's kind of like, listen, this is very important. Like a lot of people like want to jump from K42 to K44 because it just makes sense like overall. Just
It's
like
for
it
the
makes
mark
sense
size in
if you get
K44.
K39,
Yeah.
right? Right?
It's the mark
Right? Because there's a
size.
lot
There's
of
no
good
mark
buffs.
size in 43, so people want the 44 mark size.
And also, like I was examining for like how I'm built, and in K43, there's really only just in-city siege machine defense, which is not really overly like sought after. Or there's really nothing that's going to help me. And as far as those few techs that you open up in K43, so I see why people say it. It just like I see why people say if you're going to be a K40, you might as well just go straight to K42 because don't waste RSS on unlocking your T15s or all that because like you want to have buffs first. It's like you want to have the if you're building a car, you want to have horsepower, right? And you want to really like have the power before you have everything else, and then you could build around that. And that's kind of like how I think, like why people say that. And it makes sense because you just look at all the techs that are available from K40 to 42, you could make a huge jump as far as like all your buffs, your attacks, your in city especially, that helps a lot. Like you get a lot of in city siege in range and even for horse. So yeah, definitely like that's why I don't want to move ahead. I'm just gonna kind of like sit here and just unlock more red stars and even ascending. You can ascend your what do you call it? No, not ascending. Amplify your civ gear. You could selectively amplify. There's some civ gears you can amplify and get smidgen of march size, or you can get some siege HP or in city. Like there's a couple I saw that give like 2 buffs for in city on each thing, and like don't there's no reason to hoard and save stuff like those meteoric stones and have like a zillion refined stones. Like those things are buffs. All those things equal buffs, and those are readily available for you to unlock. So
Yeah, I'm the biggest hoarder in the game, one of them.
there's no reason to
Anyways, so the next two questions are kind of the
hoard. I know.
I don't think you have a lot of low siege, so I don't know what the person's really asking about on that one. But if you did have a lot of low siege, would you have HP flats? Why don't you have HP flats now? And then what do you think of the T4 siege wall?
Some people
I'm
I'll
honestly
be
not
kicking
sure if people are trolling me when they ask
myself,
me
but
about that or not.
you want to like improve a certain aspect of your account. Most of them have that. So I always look at it this way. There's certain, right? The game is telling us something, okay? Because they don't tell us right out, but they're telling us something when they have certain things that are like, like difficult to get, siege HP debuff, right? There's a reason why that's hard to get. Like they literally only like, these premium generals and duty and sub generals have that. So obviously those certain things that are difficult to get, they're telling you something, they're important. They make a lot of difference. So those are, that's just the mentality I have, the way I look at the game. It's just kind of, I analyze, like what they're doing and what they're offering and why they're offering certain things.
So what about like
Yeah.
range HP? Do you think that matters?
Yeah, I think honestly, HP is probably like I was talking with my teammate level about this, that yes, HP is probably the most important like in city thing altogether. Because if you go into every troop uh, and you look at HP, like obviously especially ground, it's a very high number. And even with calves, and range, it's a very high number. Siege's numbers are smaller and they really aren't like scaling up as much. But nonetheless, HP definitely looks there's a lot more than, defense. Just because like that number is going to scale up a lot if if you focus on that a little. So yeah, ground HP and range HP in city is good. There's a lot of also, Senate seats, upgrades for Senate seats, use up your Jades and all that stuff I was talking about in the previous interviews, right? There's no reason for you to have like a zillion Jades when you can have like 25 extra percent, on a bunch of different buffs that you need to kind of work on. Like, so those are like, all avenues that you can explore to, try to improve certain things. But yeah, I definitely think HP is definitely
So what
important.
do you think of the
And,
T4 siege wall? Do you think it's true? Do you think it works? What do you think?
oh yeah, okay, so yeah, that's a that's one of those like really interesting topics that there's a lot of opinions, and that's great. That's good for like discussion and people kind of like understanding things. But perfectly, it's definitely working. Okay, T4s. I think my opinion is that like there's a certain quantity or proportion that you need, like for your size or your troop power. Like I only have like 10 million, maybe a little more, and like because yeah, that's gonna see. So it does two things. It gives your upper tier siege a longer it makes it last a little longer. But from what I understand is if you have more than you need, it might cost you a little more points than than you would need to give up. You know what I mean? So I think again, this also goes back to what I'm saying about like watching your reports, save them, and like add truth, but nothing drastic. Like if you feel like, damn, this guy just like ran right through me with a solo, and I need to kind of last a little more and improve that. See how your T4s did and how your upper tiers held up, and then I think maybe you can stand to add a little bit, add like a few million at a time or a couple million at a time. Because lower tier of T4 is just there to kind of like trip up and slow down, incoming siege attack. But it doesn't kill. Like you notice, it usually is like flattened with like zero kills, right? It doesn't do anything. So that's the thing that gets people to arguing like, well, it's not doing anything. It's costing you points, but somehow it's giving your upper tier siege more time to do damage. It has to because like I think ultimately people want to really with them and then ghost them without them, and then you'll see the difference. That oh man, he really got more kills on upper tier without the T4s in a way. So it's shown. I mean, I've listened to other people's videos talking about it. It's very much a thing, and I don't know why people are skeptical when I think the majority of the community is like kind of saying, yeah, it works here too. I don't know. The
Let's
signal
see.
keeps fading.
Yeah, you were in and out
Okay. Well,
also.
you're coming in and out now.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
hearing you clearly
disconnect and
now. I
connect.
walked into a different room at a house. I don't know.
Do you hear me now? Joining. Are you there? Do you hear me? Do you
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
me?
that's perfectly clear
Okay.
now.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I think that most people who are anti T4 basically say you are trying to get like an extra round at the expense of negative points. Did we lose each other?
Gosh. Uh-huh.
Do you hear me?
Man, okay. Unfortunately, I did not hear a lot of your response, but like you said, what you were saying, most people, their issue with T4
Is that
is what now?
you may be getting like some more personal points, but they're negative because the T4s are just getting crushed.
Well, yeah, that is the argument that I've heard, but that's why I think honestly, you have to analyze it like exactly like what is it doing, and do you have enough? I mean, it could be that you don't have the right amount, or you have too many. Because like honestly, like I don't like I'm not like heavy on that, and I have just like 10 million, and I have not added more like probably since I was 8 million, 8 billion, and now I'm like 13. So really, I think it's like like I said, it goes back to really examining the reports and really seeing like what is happening, what is like what's the results like as far as like the power exchange. And yeah, obviously you don't need to have like 50 million T4s if you're, like my size, or maybe a 10 billion player with pretty even troop count. But I mean, I'm on board with it. I would not go without it. I think everybody needs to have, just lean a little bit extra on them, but not crazy, and then go from there.
Yeah, one thing I'm going to start experimenting with, I think, is healing my T1 to 4 after the first siege hit, or the first, like once I see they're gone, just start healing them because they
Hmm.
always generally die in the first hit. Like they're a target.
Hmm.
So maybe just having
Oh
them all
yeah,
the time,
yeah.
seeing how much they start to help the higher tiers, just being there. And I don't
Oh
have a
yeah,
lot,
and then
so I got like 10 million each from
mhm.
1 to 4. I start growing at 5 up because the different range, but I'm gonna start healing them and seeing how that helps in further siege battles.
Oh yeah, yeah, and compare it to like versus when you just kind of let it all play out,
Yeah,
right?
when I
Yeah,
let them
that's
die,
yeah.
and then I'd no longer have
Hmm.
T1 to 4 in the next round.
Yep, yep. See, that's where experimenting and then making like what you think is gonna help, matter, and adjust and add or whatever. But yeah, I know that is definitely a cool, if funky little quirk to the game as the T4s, I think, and that's what it's almost like there's like a lot of little tricks, and that's what people exploit, and that's how T1s got so popular because anything that works. I mean, let's face it, like anything that works, people are gonna do a lot, and we got to see why. You know what I mean? And talk about is it worth it or not? Not for everybody, maybe for most, but not for everybody. You know, like for me, like I never got into T1s. That's I just always wanted to build like a higher tier, more. I felt like I think I wanted to see, and as time went on, I saw more and more, you know, like that it was worth it or it was working, and that's how So that's probably another good point that I should make is that you just stick to what you see is working. Like don't let anyone tell you like, oh, you need to build yours like mine or like this guy or this other guy or like me even. Just like build how you see is doing the most for you. Okay, so and if you want to go this route, then you kind of have to like really invest in it. You can't just be like changing your route. Or if you are now, that's drastic changes. Now you're gonna have to change a lot of things. So you have to really know how you're gonna be built and stick to it, and you know don't go trying anything too fancy because it could be costly. This game's expensive, and if you know invest too much in the wrong stuff, like and it's not working, now you're starting to become a liability, or you're losing too much uh points.
Yeah,
You
and I
see what I'm
think the
saying? So like
Evony
I see it a
community
lot.
is very happy that you decided not to build T1 so you could share with them this build that you have. So I'll say that.
That's
Seems
awesome.
lots of people are
That's
happy
awesome.
with this video. This is probably the best PvP series or video I've ever had. Like the best feedback I've got.
Awesome.
People were really engaged. Everyone was, whether they, aside from the oh you're not a low coiner type stuff, everybody really really was interested in this type of alternate build that could make them relevant in today's game.
It's great. I'm glad that I can like, and I've told some players that, yeah, I'm just trying to like help or give my point of view, at least speak for, the players that are like in my bracket of the game. And like I said, I do believe we're like the backbone of the game because not only, of what we like spend, but we're the players that like you said, like we're K41 to K44, and they're spending a decent amount and trying to just last, right? Try to get enough points maybe to qualify in all stars and stuff, and and basically we're like the rally fillers slash, you know what I mean? Like we're not leading rallies, we're not setting them. Okay, we're not maybe the biggest or even the fifth biggest player on the server, but you could still like build something, be in the mid range, and kind of grow at a normal pace, what I call normal pace, which is because like I said, you could if you have the money, then fine, don't grind or whatever. But if you're trying to just, okay, I only have this much money, then you have to put a lot of sweat equity in your account, like anything else. Like you can't just throw money at it and then expect that, oh, it's going to work like I thought it was going to work. But there's a lot of, discussions and looking at stuff, and then like, compare to other players, you're rating your teammates and stuff, and then see how, they're built, how what's working for them. And that's ultimately like how you kind of get better, and you like maybe enjoy your gameplay a little more, because you're not stagnant and you're not bored. You're always talking and learning more.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So anything else you want to add, or you feel you covered it all?
No, I'm glad to have answered the questions, and yeah, hopefully we get more positive feedback and people with other ideas
Hopefully we
or
get a
other types of
K50 and then we could bring you back in to teach us how to compete
uh
against them.
see how I'm holding up or not.
Yeah. All right. So thanks so much. We'll end the video there, and let us know in the comments what you guys think about it. All right. Like, subscribe, leave a comment.